welcome to Crime Besties to episode 95. Oh my goodness, we're nearly there. Nearly at the 100.
We are nearly at 100. Oh my gosh. Well, this week we've also celebrated our 2-year anniversary. Happy birthday, Emma.
Happy birthday, Meg. Happy birthday, TCB.
I know. Oh, and producer Pete.
And producer Pete, fine. Yeah, how exciting is that? 2 years. It doesn't feel like 2 years, but then it also does feel like 2 years.
Yeah, very much so. I totally hear you on that.
Mm-hmm,
Very much the same. Yeah, it's amazing when I look back and kind of go what we've achieved in 2 years, it seems like it's not much time to have done, I think, what we've done, which was really cool.
I know.
But then at the same time, like all the hiccups along the way and the challenges and that sort of stuff that like our audience don't see, although they do hear the audio.
Oh, the shit audio at the start of in our first, what was it, 10-ish episodes?
7 or 8,
yeah.
Something like that. Because we were just saying we might have to go back and re-record some of those.
I think we're going to have to. They're so bad.
Oh, I was saying to you, I had my Spotify randomly play our first episode at some point this week when I was listening to things and went, what is this crap? What's going on? I have to turn my radio up in my car. I'm like, what? I can't even hear it.
So
the
terrible.
The audio sound like we're in a bloody tunnel at the airport.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Absolutely shocking.
Why did we think that was okay?
Yeah.
Crazy.
But we did.
We did.
We thought it was fine.
We really did.
We didn't know any better.
No.
Bless.
Oh, bless those little young'uns.
Those little spring chickens who thought you were just giving it a go. We've had so many happy birthday messages as well, like on the socials. Good. And we've had quite a few coffees and that kind of thing bought for us with Buy Me a Coffee celebrating our second birthday. So I'll just shout those people out now.
Yes, we can drink wine later.
We absolutely will be. Jo McCurry, my friend from work, she bought us tons of, and she's like, make sure you buy a nice bottle of wine. So thanks, Jo.
We will get on
Miss
that.
Tan was sung happy birthday to us, and Rebecca Devine said happy second birthday. Leanne Lyden said congrats on 2 years, amazing effort. And then we had AS as well buy us some coffee. So thank you to everybody for supporting us. We also had coffees bought this week from Bernie, who said she loves our show so much and can't wait for Tuesdays.
Oh,
So
best day followed by Fridays.
yep.
Because we record that day. You guys, you love your Tuesdays, we love our Fridays.
That's right. Exactly.
Oh, gosh. We could almost be like Mary Crosby's then, and we could only drink the best champagne that's, if Mary Crosby says it's good, then it must be. We should drink the 2003 Dom Perignon.
Yeah.
Because you know why she loves that one the most?
Why? Oh, God.
It's her favourite. It's because in 2003 there was a heat wave, and in that heat wave, like 50 people died, and it created like the best grapes.
Oh! I mean, I understand that climate's what your grapes need in order to make a nice wine.
Totally, but I love this the way she describes it.
Like, she talks about the deaths.
People died.
It was
that's
so
what
extreme.
created the really great white grapes.
Oh, my God, she's such a character. But nothing much has come out about her recently since her son died.
It's really sad.
So sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was watching, I mean, it comes up on the odd occasion on my socials, but someone was talking about having been to the funeral and I guess it goes against Mary's normal MO, but there were no cameras allowed. People had to put their phones leave their phones at the front door of the church, and it was not
get
televised.
That from her though, in that as much as she's on a reality TV show, out of all of them, she's the one that would least
want that.
Like, as in, she's not. I don't think. Sometimes I go, why are you even on this when you don't like people knowing stuff?
About
like,
you.
You're quite
Exactly.
private in some
yeah,
ways.
that's
like,
true.
Can't handle the bullshit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
someone did ask us on our socials this week, and I went to reply, and then went, oh God, no, I have to think about this. Really. They were like, oh, I think I need to get on the Housewives bandwagon. After hearing us talk about all these things, where should I start? What would be my entry point? And I actually was like immediately I did the whole Salt Lake City.
So
and then went, oh, wait, no.
Or Beverly
if you're
Hills.
talking about broadly Housewives and getting into it, should you start with the OC as the OGs?
Okay. I've got an opinion on this.
No,
I think no. I think no.
Yeah.
I think you need to start more recent than that because
Yeah.
some of the older seasons, when you go back to them, you're like, oh, no, it's unrelatable.
Yeah.
Whereas I think because we can relate so much to that.
Of course.
Of course. But I feel like the more recent seasons, I don't know, it's just like they are more relatable. You can, I don't know. It's just like more
when I buy
my
leopard Cartier
that's
ring,
right.
I really get along and know who.
Well, because that wasn't released when the OC first came out. So see, you got it. You've got it.
Yeah.
But I have to say, anyone who's into the Housewives and is not watching Rhode Island, what the fuck are you even doing?
Oh my God, that's unhinged.
Oh, it is unhinged, and it is like the fucking best thing. I was almost wetting my pants watching it last night.
It's a car crash.
Oh,
you cannot look away.
It is,
but it's awful.
Oh, it is absolutely fantastic. It's awful in the best way.
Yeah. Because it's not us. But, oh my God, could any more of them have affairs and
but that's
relationships that are open and not care not that they don't care that people are cheating on them, but also want to maintain image and try to ignore that people are having affairs and.
But they don't really ignore it. They kind of confront everything head on.
Yeah, but then it's like,
But then also the fact that I just fucking love their accents too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Alicia with her crackers. She's like, I just need my crackers. She is my absolute favourite.
And then there's the one that was off of The Bachelor who like cries at everything.
Oh, have you seen, I think it was what did I watch last night? I think it was episode 7 of season 1.
Right.
And they're all, The Masquerade. Have you watched that episode?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so they're all going around and they're saying that they're taking their masks off and they're saying like things that they've masked from the group before, and then once they say their truth, they take their mask off, and they're all saying like things that that's profound. I mean, profound in the world of Real Housewives of Rhode Island.
Sure. Yeah.
And then she comes on, and it's her turn to sort of say her truth, and she's like, I'm actually just like so upset because I was asked this when I was on The Bachelor, and I'm just really upset because I'm waiting for something really bad to happen to me because nothing bad has actually happened in my life.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, my truth is that I'm just waiting for something bad to happen to me. And she was like, she was bawling more than the people who actually had things to cry about.
That's so... Oh my God.
Yeah.
I generally find that there are certain people in my life, I think, that have gone through life fairly unscathed.
Yeah.
And I tend to find that they're more likely to be really disconnected from things when you're less emotional because they haven't experienced for something, which is totally fair. If you haven't experienced certain things in life, you don't know how you would respond. And therefore, when you hear someone else talking about it, it's harder to empathise and to feel the same as them.
Yep.
Whereas she goes the complete opposite, it seems like, and just like cries about everything.
And then like there's another scene at that, so they've gone away for the weekend to Newport or something, and there's another scene where someone's yelling at one of the other girls and she starts crying.
Yes.
And she's like I'm just really feeling it.
She's seriously an empath, like through and through.
It's so
but
funny.
It's like, oh man.
Oh,
God.
it is fucking great. But Alicia is I just fucking love that woman. She is. I would love to be friends with her.
Oh, really?
I just fucking love her. She's so
I wouldn't
funny.
want to be friends with any of them.
She's
watch it
so
every day
funny.
Of the week.
Oh my God,
oh,
love
man.
it.
It's batshit crazy.
Get on it if you haven't already.
Yes.
Pro
There's
tip.
so many of them that are just loopy as shit.
Loopy as fuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, complete change of tactics
Yes,
here.
go for it.
Of but have you been watching any of the FIFA World Cup? Can't just call it the World Cup. It has to be FIFA World Cup.
Fucking way too early in the morning for me. I'm not a morning person.
Yeah.
But no, definitely up to date with it because my boys are mad on it at the moment. So they're gung ho. They want to get up Saturday morning, and I'm like,
oh yeah, no, you have to get up. So Saturday morning,
no.
5 a.m. Australia is playing America in their group stage.
yeah,
you have to get up for that. Oh, it's un-Australian not to.
I can't. It's too
Watch
early.
it from bed. Just wake up, turn the TV on.
Yeah. Okay.
Just do it.
I don't want to be awake at that time.
No, I know you don't want to be awake. You'll have had like 4 hours sleep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've really just gone to sleep.
Yeah.
So come on.
I can't wait. I'm really, really looking forward to it. We've been up early for quite a few games because
You're
my
mad
kids,
on it.
kids are super keen on it. So is Peter, and it's rubbed off on me. I really can get behind the World Cup.
Yeah.
It was like when the Matildas were playing. The country was so into it.
Yeah,
and I feel like it's
the
the
boy
same.
Matildas, starting pulling some things out too. So.
Yeah, I love it. I love watching it when there was something that came up on my feed recently and they were like, but where are the Matildas? Like, why aren't they playing?
The boy Matildas.
It's the Men's World Cup. Yeah, but where are they? I don't understand. But yeah, I absolutely love watching it. And I love watching like all the countries come together and celebrate. Yeah, it's great. It's good in this, I don't know, current world climate. It's nice to see a bit of camaraderie.
I'm really hoping that Australia can beat the US.
Oh, me too.
Would really be lovely.
We'll know by the time this comes out, we'll know what the outcome of that was.
Yeah.
Let's hope Australia makes it past the group stage. That'd be awesome.
That would be amazing.
Yes.
Very cool.
Now, more shout outs for today. I've
God,
got
there's so many
new Patreons as well. We've got so many. Sonia Scully, Sharon, Danielle King, Naomi Peacock, Jess Harvey, Bernie Bayer. Thank you guys so much. So much for joining our Patreon.
Absolutely.
And then we actually had this comment come through, and I think it came through this morning actually, and I was like, bit of a pep in our step. It was from Mrs. Mantra, and she's like, I am obsessed with your podcast. Like, thanks.
So nice.
Love it. All right, have we banged on long enough?
I've been told off again recently on our socials that our 23 minutes of total rubbish, but I love that our lovely true
Community.
listeners
have
came out and went, no, like, banter's great.
Fuck off.
Fuck off.
If you don't like it, just skip ahead. Like, we don't need you to tell us whether you're skipping ahead or not, or whether you like it or not. 99% of people love it.
This is it. I mean, people wouldn't be listening if they didn't love it. So
that's it.
But yeah, you can just skip ahead if you don't want to listen to it. So that's fine.
It's cute.
I know I went to type sort of and go, just skip past it.
Yeah.
It's timestamped, dude. Like whatever.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, I'm just gonna leave it. See what happens. Someone's just come in immediately.
Thank you for having our back, guys.
Absolutely, guys. That's the best.
We really appreciate it.
There's definitely enough of you guys that love the banter.
That's it. I haven't even asked you how your week has been.
We have not done even that this week. What has happened this week? Oh my God. It's been a busy one. Not too bad. Nothing exciting this week. It was a fairly stock standard week. Yeah. Just the usual. Now I just got to do the footy sports tonight, which I think you're getting out of.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah, not happy about that.
Sorry.
No.
I'm not mad about it.
No, I know. I literally was like, I'm assuming that means she's not there on Friday either. That's fine. I've got work to do, so I might sit in my car tonight, actually.
Yeah, perfect. Just bang it out, get it done.
Yeah, I've realised that I've got things that I haven't done this week because I've focused on other things and then went, oh shit, there's a deadline on that. So that might be a good time to get it done and sit in the warm of my car and type it out. And
yeah, because I think the weather's going to be pretty feral this evening. Yeah,
okay, cool. That's when I go and sit in my boot of my car and get my laptop out.
Good move. Absolutely good
that
move.
would be the way to go because I don't want to sit outside. It's too bloody cold.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
We had Ollie's birthday during this week and we had a little party for him, and we went to play splat ball, which is like paintball but lower powered, so it doesn't hurt as much. Although so many of the kids were wearing shorts and t-shirts, and because it's lower powered, they don't get they get masks, face masks and stuff, but no other
gear sort of
protective gear.
Yeah.
And they've all come out, they're like, have a look at this. Oh, I've got a mark. I mean, they lasted half an hour.
Oh,
whatever.
Okay, right. They never bruise up kind of thing.
No, nothing like that. But you know what really surprised me? So I was like, oh my God, all these 12-year-old boys. It's just, it's 2 hours just to have to grin and bear it. It is what it is, the things we do for our kids.
Oh, yeah.
The kids were so well behaved.
Love that.
It was actually incredibly pleasant.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I was like, totally not what I expected it to be.
Well, it means that you've done well as a parent, I reckon. It reflects the fact that you've raised a kid who's picked friends that are good friends and are, respectful and behave well.
Yeah,
so,
I was blown away. But when kids all get together, it can really escalate each other.
No matter how good they are, they just get heightened.
Yeah, which is totally fair. And there's like sugar and fun food and fun drinks and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, it was really good.
That's
really
so
good week.
good.
And Ollie had a great time. So that's all that really matters. But aside from but you know what really got to me is the fact that you do one event like that on the weekend and it throws your entire weekend out. By the time you do all the planning in the lead up to it and you're making cakes and you're getting food ready and blah, 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 and then you have that event And then it's almost like you've got the hangover of the event the next day.
But you've got to keep moving.
But you've still got to do stuff.
Yes.
And still it's like we are so packed in our days that we don't have capacity to even add in a birthday party. You know? It's just so crazy.
True. My kids are at me at the moment. They want to go and see Toy Story 5, which I shouldn't say they want to go see it. I want to go see it.
Of course.
But yeah, I was like, oh, well, maybe we could go this weekend with it being released and stuff. And I'm like, shit, when?
When?
And at a point where I was like, okay, well, Sunday's probably our best bet, but we'll have to go later in the day. And it was like, well, by the time movie ends, I'm like, that's Sunday night before they go to school the next day. Like that, I don't want to go too late.
Yeah.
And so you're coming out of a movie potentially at 7:00 at night. It's not ideal even on a Sunday. Kind of, that's a bit mental. Like, do I have capacity to add that into my weekend? It's little things like this sort of kind of go, those things you just want to do to add to your weekend that are like, ooh, like.
At basketball training last night, I was talking to one of the mums and she was saying, I actually just can't wait for school holidays only for the fact that it means we don't have sport for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that's so true. Just to not, to have a weekend where you can do whatever you want.
Yes.
Go and see a movie or do whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
I totally feel you.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think the kids are ready for a break too with all the sports too.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It's a lot. All right. Yeah. Should we get into today's case?
Oh, yeah, because this is a lot.
It's a lot, but it's not a lot.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about this again. We shouldn't have, but we didn't talk too much. Don't worry.
We did, which kind of went, no, don't. Stop.
Don't talk about it. But what I was starting to say to you before we stopped ourselves was, in researching this case, we're discussing the case of Skylar Neese, or the murder of Skylar Neese. There's not a lot of. I mean, there's a lot out there about this.
Yeah.
But the case is pretty straightforward, and there's not a lot of nuance to it, really.
No, what we know kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. There's no sort of I don't know. It's an interesting one because there's a lot of stuff I want to talk to you about and I want to get your opinion on.
Yeah, okay.
And takes on things.
Yeah.
But the actual events are that's what it was.
Yeah. Did it give you We've just recently recorded our crush episode.
Oh, yeah. Very.
Did it give you vibes?
Same, yeah. Which I was sort of going to say to you throughout this, sames but different.
Same but different. Yep,
yeah.
Totally.
It's very interesting, similar ages and all those sorts of things. And this whole, I guess, social media comes into play with it again, that sort of thing. And that's that next generation of kids that are coming through and the impact of that on their mental health.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I mean, for sure.
Maybe.
For sure.
I mean, we've often talked about, I think, in the past it's always been video games, create, people who want to be violent, which I don't agree with. I think that's not the case. But then then looking at this, you kind of go, is social media though, I think is maybe there's a little bit more research that needs to go into that and the mental health impacts and therefore what's coming out of that, those mental health impacts in terms of murders and other violence.
I think that's very true. This is this was done back in the day when the girls were using Twitter.
Yeah. And
they were doing it like we used to do, Facebook status updates. They were tweeting that kind of thing.
Journal.
Like a journal almost.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's nuance there as well, and that is a difference a little bit between that and the TikToks, for example, that Mackenzie Sheila was posting.
Yeah,
there's a difference there, but the outcome's kind of almost the same.
It's close to what it's 10 years almost between these two cases.
Roughly,
so when you think about the way social media was used
and evolved,
evolved over that time between the Twitters to a TikTok style. I mean, I think back in this sort of era that we're talking, which is more 2012 sort of stuff, I think there was not as strong an understanding of, I think still young people don't understand how far and how that goes, and also who sees it and what the impact of that is. Yep. But I think particularly back in 2012, as we said, using it like a journal kind of element, not really understanding that information is actually read by people and seen by people. It's kind of this...
And can impact people?
Yeah, definitely. Because, to be honest, these Twitter accounts that we will talk about throughout this are still active, not active, but they're live. You can still go to these accounts and see the posts that we'll talk about.
Yeah.
So there's no ifs or buts about whether or not this was there and that, because it's still there. Mm-hmm. Which, obviously maybe give someone your access to your accounts for one day if that was needed to shut them down. Because obviously the parents and someone who's, I don't know, they've just not been able to get into these accounts and turn that and delete them.
Like, I look at the parents and I'm like, would they even think to do that maybe?
Surely the amount of people that when you research this talk about the fact that these accounts are still active and you can not active. I shouldn't say the word active, but they're still live. They're not being used as in there's not still posting to them. Yeah. But you're still being able to access them.
Yeah. They haven't been deleted.
At some point there's someone who said to them, you know, you should delete that. So therefore, to me, the response is obviously like, we would if we could, but we don't know how to.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. Sometimes, like, I've got a great auntie who was on Facebook and she passed away.
Yes.
And often still things come up in my Facebook feed about her.
Yeah, I've got quite a few on mine that I've
it kind of gets me every time because I'm like, she's like, you know, she's no longer here. But obviously the family haven't logged in to delete that or...
There's one thing I think when like it's someone like in those sorts of scenarios, like it's nice to sort of see their name pop up on things or,
that's true.
Look back on their account or something that's kind of nice. Whereas with this situation... If I was those parents, I'd lock that down and be like, nah,
we're
I don't
done
want that
with
being
this.
public anymore. Like
it's too late now because everyone's like, it's out there. It's
look, this is the thing. The screenshots have been taken. If they did close it, like I literally was in there looking at them, you know, like at least people can't do that.
Yeah, true.
You can go find the screenshots if that's what you want to go find them.
Yeah, true.
But to actually go in and go, this is the Twitter handle, now X. And this is the thing, it's even moved across to X. They haven't like shut them down in that process going, your account hasn't been used in 10 years and also we're changing to X, so therefore your account will be closed unless you do something. That hasn't even happened.
It's insidious. It's the way that these things kind of are out there.
Yeah. Let's get into it though.
Okay. So Skylar Neese was born on the 10th of February in 1996. She was the only child of Dave and Mary Neese. So Dave was a product assembler at Walmart and he also had a DJ career when he was a younger. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't actually
know that. Because I was like, I always like to try and figure out something about the parents. I find, especially because the mum and dad in this case, they are quite prominent. You can find lots of interviews with them. They are out there discussing the case. So I'm like, I wonder what your life has been like up until that point. Yeah, he was a DJ. You look at him and you're like, not what I would think of as a DJ, but good for him.
But maybe doing like the school discos. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
he's got a school disco vibe.
I could see that now that I'm like,
Yep. And then Mary Neese, Skylar's mum, worked as an administrative assistant at a cardiac cath lab and had worked there forever. Like, it was something that apparently she was really good at. She really loved her job, loved being around people, and so that was something she'd done for a very, very long time. I think they struggled to have Skylar. Yeah. I think she was a very, very much a wanted baby, and I think, you know, if they could have had more kids, they would have. I really get the sense from them that, you know, this was very hard fought to fall pregnant with Skylar.
And they doted over her. I mean, you know, in the most loving way, not talking Sheila kind of style.
No.
In the most beautiful way, though. There's some family videos and things that I've seen of her when she was little, and the way you hear sort of mum or dad in the background, you know, of like them videoing her doing her little dance and stuff like that, and just absolutely gorgeous. Like such a beautiful, like loving family, like really, really, just love their daughter.
Yeah, so much.
Yeah.
Skylar was a really, really good student. She was a straight A student. She had a 4.0 GPA for our American friends.
I don't even know what that means.
It basically means she was incredibly good at school.
Right.
She was a straight A student.
Okay, right.
In order to get a 4.0.
What's like the maximum? Is like 4.0 like the...
I actually don't know the answer to that. I feel like it must be.
So I hear those sorts of things mentioned a fair bit, and I'm like, I have no idea what American... that even means.
Okay, so, it converts to 100%. A 4.0 GPA on the standard US grading scale generally converts to 100%.
Right. Jeez,
man.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. So she attended University High School in Morgantown, West Virginia, at the time of this incident, but she went to a local primary school, and she was she had lots of friends and she was very well liked by other students. She seemed like, from what I've seen, I mean, there's lots of videos around with her in them, and she does seem like a very nice girl. Like she seems quite quiet and probably a little bit maybe introverted, would you say?
I would definitely say that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So not out there like a couple of other, or many of her other friends, but just a quiet, unassuming, nice girl.
One of those people you'd think like is friends with everyone. No one disliked her. No one, you know what I mean? Just always, there was nothing to dislike about her. No. Like in her actions of her everyday life, she was just unassuming. Yeah. Like just a really nice person.
Because I guess she was so smart. I mean, if she's getting 100%, she wanted to be a lawyer when she finished high school.
Yeah.
And she also had a part-time job at a Wendy's restaurant. And her managers have basically said she literally not even once ever called in sick.
No.
She was always there on time. She always worked really hard. She was in a customer service type role there, and she always had really good feedback from customers because she was friendly and attended to their needs and, all of that sort of stuff.
So adding up to someone who was not only wanting to be a lawyer but was going to make it as a lawyer.
Yeah, 100%. I have no doubt.
Done it and made probably, passed the bar first time.
Yeah.
Like, amazing.
Yeah, she just sounded like a really lovely girl.
Yeah.
Let's get into the other two main characters in this, and then we can go on and sort of tell the story.
Tell what happened, for sure.
Another one of the, I guess, main characters in this was Sheila Eddy.
Mm-hmm.
So Sheila was born on the 28th of September in 1995 in Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. She grew up in West Virginia with her mum, Tara Clenendon, and her father, Greg Eddy. She was a longtime friend of Skylar's. They apparently, I've even seen Skylar's mum talk about this, where they met when they were 8 years old and they became like instant best friends.
Yeah, was that like an after-school activity sort of thing?
Like a craft program or something?
Yeah, I think it was like a, after-school care kind of program they must have gone to, which, because they didn't attend the same school at this stage, but they obviously must have, there must have been activity groups they could go to after school, like, while their parents were working or whatever, that this is where they sort of met. And just, I just say, clicked immediately and were just inseparable from that point.
Yep.
Yeah.
So her mum and dad divorced when she was quite young and she lived with her mum predominantly. She was so as you said, they went to different primary schools, but they went to the same high school.
Yeah.
And in high school, Sheila had a very different personality to Skylar. Sheila's personality she was like very high energy. She was very social. She was popular. Mm-hmm. She made friends very, very easily. And she was probably more what I would consider these days to be like a typical teenage girl. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. Yeah.
She was loud, funny. Apparently she was quite charismatic. I saw her described as charismatic in so many different places when I was looking her up. So, you know what we think about that.
It's not a compliment.
No. And someone actually said this verbatim in one of the interviews I was watching.
Oh.
She was incredibly charismatic, which allowed her to easily charm both her peers and other adults. And I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, I think this can be a really lovely thing, but she seemed to then also establish a relationship with Skylar's parents. They sort of at the time would describe Sheila as like another daughter to them. She entrenched herself in their family as well. Like, I think equally in terms of like Skylar with Sheila's family a little bit too, but maybe not quite so much, like because she was that bit more quiet and that sort of thing, that she wasn't as confident in that. Whereas Sheila confidently inserted herself into Skylar's family as well and like built relationships with those parents as well. Which I mean,
so much so
can
that
be really lovely.
She had a key to their apartment, and like the dad says, if she wanted a drink, she'd go and get a drink, which I think that's great. That's fine. But having a key to your apartment, that's another level.
You wouldn't be giving Brody that.
Oh no,
I go in the pantry, but
he's welcome to go to the pantry and get whatever he wants. But no, he'd lose the key. No, I wouldn't. Well, give him
that's
the key.
true.
No, you're right. I wouldn't.
No, you would never give him. I won't ever give him a key.
Yeah. It's just So, she was also described by certain people, like other peers, and also by one of her school teachers, as like they saw a manipulative side to her. And so even though she put on a front of being a certain thing, there were people in her life who were like, no, I think I've got your number.
Okay.
You're not quite the person we necessarily thought you were. And apparently she had quite the vindictive streak if someone crossed her.
Oh.
So if, you know, it was all fine and dandy and fun and love and rainbows when everyone agreed with her and did what she wanted.
Okay.
But as soon as that changed and someone, didn't do what she wanted or crossed her in some way or disagreed with her in some way, you know, the real Sheila came out, I think.
That's interesting. And then the friendship between Skylar and her being such different types of people, but clearly having a very strong friendship.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
So, I mean, there's one thing having like, you know, childhood friends, you know, you do grow into different people, but you still maintain those friendships.
Yeah.
I know we've talked a lot about, you know, between us, like if a friends that you've got like for years, that, you know, that there's certain people in your life that you've been friends forever and you have your different lives now, and then you come together and you catch up and that sort of thing, and it's like it's never changed.
Yeah.
And it's great. But because you've grown slightly different people, you can go different ways.
Yeah.
Which I can see that's, you know, if all things went without what happens, that was probably where they were going to go. You know what I mean? Of like someone that you've always been in my life, but maybe they'd probably find different paths. Like, you know, Skylar would go off to university and do a law degree, whereas Sheila would probably go off to do something else, and they'd remain friends.
Yeah.
And never lose touch, but could be quite different people in their lives.
Yeah, I don't know that Sheila was all that academic.
Yeah.
So I don't know that was university might not have been the pathway she would take.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, she might have done, but probably not law, say, maybe doing something else at university.
That's
right?
it,
You know,
maybe.
they've go to different universities beyond high school.
Yeah.
So, yep.
The other main character in this story is a girl by the name of Rachel Shoaf. So she comes into she was born on the 10th of June in 1996. She was raised in Morgantown, West Virginia, and unlike Sheila, who'd been obviously Skylar's friend since they were 8 years old, even though they went to different primary schools, Rachel didn't really enter the picture until they were in their first year at university high school. So neither of the girls knew Rachel before this point.
No, she went to a Catholic private school prior to attending the university college, so high school. So, yeah, she was separate to them in her schooling until then. She didn't really, I think they even moved into the area. I don't think they'd even, because where we're talking in Morgantown, it's quite a small community too, like everyone knows everyone.
Yes.
So I think they'd also moved into the area. So it wasn't that she even established, you know that I know that someone that I know or any of those sorts of things. They'd moved into the area. She'd left her other high school in a primary school sort of situation and started at the same high school as the girls. So with no connection to anyone else.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly
right.
But
they did establish fairly quickly of the threesome of them, being the friendship group.
I find it interesting, like that dynamic, because you're looking at Rachel, who came from this quite a strict Catholic upbringing, and then you've got Sheila, who was a bit wild and out there, and then you've got the shy Skylar. I can almost see how those three personalities would kind of, they're
meld.
different enough that they'd each bring something different to that friendship group. But obviously their personalities just really did gel and they became fast friends, really.
Or did they? Like, this is
let's talk this through. On the outside, that's the way it looked.
Yes.
So Rachel was more sort of in the performing arts sort of scene. She was definitely sort of favoured.
She quite enjoyed acting,
Yeah, favoured that
quite
stuff
good at it
at high school.
From what everyone said, that she was doing quite well in that in her
subjects.
subjects.
She always had like main parts in school production. She also was a bit of a singer, I think, and so she had that side of things going for her. I think given her Catholic upbringing, she was quite polite and she was a yes ma'am, no ma'am kind of a person.
Yeah.
And so had really good manners. And apparently she was very, very bright and very well behaved. So from all of this, really, Sheila was the wildcat in the group.
Yeah. And you can see, like, I don't know, you can see a sort of evolution of them a little bit in terms of
definitely.
There's photos galore of the three of them, or two, or sort of thing.
Different mixtures of
it.
Yep.
But and you can kind of see this because I mean, what are they? They knew each other for sort of almost
couple
2
of years. Yeah.
So over those 2 years, you kind of see the photos of them looking very like young little girly, to then later on where you can see differences in their appearance that show their personality traits more.
I could not agree with you more.
As we get closer to this point in there.
What you're talking about, like, I totally get what you're saying, because Skylar is in these photos as the other two are kind of growing up. And a lot of people do say Rachel changed. She changed a lot in those couple of years.
Yeah.
And she did sort of morph into more of a, maybe more towards Sheila's neck of the woods. So they were wearing heavy makeup.
Yeah.
They were dressing in a certain way, whereas Skylar wasn't. She wasn't really doing that.
And that's the thing. You don't see as much change in Skylar.
No, and I look at some photos, like back when the three of them first met, they all look like young girls. They all look like young, what would they be, 12, 13-year-old girls, right? And then I look at the photos right before the murder took place, and Rachel and Sheila look significantly older than Skylar. Do you think that?
I definitely do.
Yeah. So,
because, even when you look at their birth dates, and I'm developmental background, when you look at their birth dates,
hat on. Yeah.
they're June born, both Rachel and Skylar.
Yeah.
Whereas Sheila is 9 months really older than them.
Yeah.
You can see the maturity and immaturity, in each of those ends of the spectrum and what they're really ready for in terms of life.
Yeah.
And I can see then where Sheila could lead because she is that bit older with a little bit more maturity maturity is the wrong word in this scenario really, but she seems to have more confidence in it.
Oh, definitely.
From her years having that being that little bit older. And it comes back to all these things of like when you choose to send children to school and what you want for them later in life of like what level of capability they have in that brain development to be able to take on mean girls,
situations
all those sorts
like
of things,
this,
in schools and high school and what the scenarios bring of social media and all that. Because, you can see a difference in how they've coped with those things and who can confidently lead that stuff and who feels the feels and can't really handle it.
Yeah.
Which it's not saying anything poor on that person for not being able to handle it. They're just not ready for it.
They're just immature
to be able to
ready.
walk away and go, I'm not having that shit. Like,
I mean, as 40-plus-year-old women, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard. Mm-hmm. And so, I can understand a developing brain. Of course, that's really difficult. Those situations are tough, and you do have to have a certain level of maturity to be able to deal with that and move through it.
Your friends at school are your life, you know, and so to be able to go, that person's not treating me how I want to be treated, I'm going to put a line in the sand and say, no, I'm not allowing you to do that to me. I'm going to walk away from that. As a high school girl, that's incredibly difficult.
So hard.
So much easier as, a 40-year-old woman to go, oh, no, fuck off. I'm not dealing with that shit.
Yeah.
So I can understand the dynamics of all this is really interesting.
Really tough.
Yeah.
Really, really tough. But I think, should we talk a little bit about friendships where there are 3 people involved, especially as teenagers?
Yeah. 3s are hard.
3s are hard. 3's really hard.
There's always someone feeling like they're left out.
Yes.
It is the way it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
3's a really difficult number.
Yeah.
Normally, if you've got 4 people in a friendship group, like you then tend to have 2 groups of 2.
Yeah.
But in a threesome, no, that doesn't really work that way because who's like better friends with who? And the other thing is I think, Skylar and Sheila had such a long history up until this point. Rachel coming in, that's a tough dynamic for Rachel to break into.
Yeah.
But then she's found that she's had probably a bit more in common with Sheila.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Skylar's feeling left out.
Yes.
And it shows in their tweets, in the way they were interacting with one another at school, the dynamics that were noted by so many people who were observing them.
Oh, yeah.
That this was not working. The threesome wasn't working. And it is so hard. And I feel for them.
I find that side of it interesting, that when we talk about them as a 3, that they are very connected to each other and it is insular, but it's not like there weren't other friends.
That's true.
And I find that really interesting that none of them kind of could have the maturity, I guess, to kind of go, you know what, who cares if they're doing that? I've got other people I can go and talk to.
But if you're I'm thinking of this from Skylar's point of view.
Yeah.
She probably felt a certain level of
that would be
loyalty maybe
to Sheila.
Yeah.
And thought that, but that's where I kind of go, this is what I'd hope that I would teach my daughter that I had, that kind of go like, you'll come back to each other. You know what I mean? Like
if it's meant to be,
like let her have it. I mean, this is the thing. It's teenagers. They're going to experiment. They're going to do different things, and maybe they're experimenting in things that you don't feel like you want to do. So in those moments when they want to do that, you can be the the voice of reason and say like your piece and go. Well, you guys do that. I'm going to go hang out with these people instead. Yeah. But then it doesn't mean you're not a friend to Sheila. And all these sorts of things. I think they just really didn't know how to do any of that.
No, they didn't. And look, around the time that this was sort of really starting to escalate and those things were really, those cracks kind of thing were really starting to show.
Yeah.
Skylar was regularly tweeting about feeling abandoned and mistreated. She felt miserable, and
the tweets that were going out were like full on. It wasn't like, I mean, God, if I heard one of those tweets, even as Sheila, I'd be like, oh my God, what a rude bitch. Like,
but also, don't you think it's so funny that and this was so of the time, this was so 2012 tweets, Facebook updates, where people, you put out things but you don't give enough detail. And
vague
that used to
booking,
shit
you
me.
mean?
Oh, fuck, I can't even stand it.
Nah.
It's like when somebody puts in, don't you just hate it when you go in for surgery and something bad happens? Or something like that. And then all they want is for everyone to go, oh my God, what happened?
Why are you
Tell me
having surgery?
everything. Fuck off. If you're going to post shit like that, I'm not engaging.
No.
Don't even.
No.
But
tell us what you want to tell us or don't.
Or don't. Don't post it if you're not going to give all the information. Fuck. Oh my God, I'm so annoyed by that. But Skylar was tweeting things like, I've just written a couple down from around this time, but she was tweeting things like, it really doesn't take much to completely backstab someone. Too bad friend rules don't apply to certain people. What else did she write? You doing shit like this makes me never want to trust you.
Oh, wow.
Stressing over friends that aren't even worth it is my favourite thing to do.
Oh. And I'm guessing too, this is where I'm not blaming anyone here, but obviously her parents weren't aware of social media and stuff. They would have had no idea this is what was being put out in the world.
No.
By their daughter. That
they say that in interviews. They say we had no idea.
No idea. God, this is where we'll learn from these things.
Yes.
That, if you're going to have social media, then I'm going to be, as a parent, I'm going to be
on it
so I can see what you're posting. Just so, not because you're going to stop them or whatever, but then you can have a conversation and go, hey, what's going on? And maybe we can talk through this. And not that Skylar did anything wrong and deserve anything, but
I feel like for Skylar,
she needed some support.
She needed support, definitely.
Yeah.
But I also think for her, she was definitely a non-confrontational person.
Yeah, which then I find her tweets and stuff are so direct.
But I think that was her only way that she could express herself because I feel like seeing the personality, and again, you can watch videos of this, so this isn't unsolicited.
No.
Sheila would shut her down, and talk over her, and really, she was a very dominant person.
Yeah.
And so Skylar probably felt like she couldn't say the things that she's then been able to tweet out.
Do you think that these tweets would go at night, Skylar's there tweeting that, right? And then the next day at school, do you think it would be like Sheila going like, were you talking about me? And then and Skylar going, oh, no, I was talking about someone else. Do you think it kind of would go so that face to face it wasn't being discussed what was going on online?
I don't know, because with a lot of these tweets though, the girls weren't talking.
No, this is it.
So I don't know.
But then they would hang out.
As in no, they wouldn't. So it got things would be there would be situations, or maybe they would hang out as a group.
Yeah, as a group,
but they weren't. It got to the point where they weren't really hanging out as a threesome anymore.
No, it was getting less and less which is, why Skylar was feeling left out.
So left out.
She was being left out.
Yeah.
They weren't including her in some things.
No.
But the thing is, those things they were doing were things that Skylar didn't want to be doing anyway.
That's right.
And that's where I just kind of go, I think at a point you kind of have to go, this friendship's not working for me.
But she
didn't have the skills to do that.
No, but she still kind of wanted the friendship, I think. She still wanted to be involved and be
wanted
considered.
That friendship, yeah. But she wanted friendship. She wanted that. You know what I mean?
She didn't want all the extras.
No.
Yeah.
I think she should have been exploring other friendships at this time.
Yeah.
Which she didn't have people stepping in and supporting her to do that.
But then did you watch that that 3-part documentary about this? And they interviewed other female friends of hers. There was a male friend of theirs who was lovely, he was great. But I think that's maybe a different dynamic again.
Totally. There's a couple of the girls though.
I was like, why didn't she just go and be besties with them?
That's
because
what I couldn't
such
understand.
Lovely girls.
Yeah, but then there's got to have been. I mean, I get it from the perspective of if those girls have got a pair already, you're again being the third wheel, and I totally do actually feel that for her. But wouldn't that be better than being the third wheel of this scenario?
Or especially with the way things were progressing.
Yeah, I mean, again, not blaming her in any way.
Oh, it's not her fault at all.
No, you would think that this would be the outcome of all this. But, I just feel for her in her friendships and that she wasn't feeling as part of things and feeling like she was worthy of a better friendship.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And she deserved a good group of friends who treated her well.
Yeah. Sometimes we do put too many eggs in a basket and go, sometimes you got to walk away from that stuff and decide it's not the best for you.
Yeah.
Which, that's hard.
All right, let's get to the day of her murder because this is, look, it is, like, it's not a crime of passion. It's not a crime of, like, they had a fight and something happened. This was a long, premeditated, I don't know, everything was pre-planned in this.
We'll circle back to it, I reckon, because there's so much in that stuff.
So much in that.
Yeah.
So here's kind of a bit of a timeline or a bit of a step-by-step about what happened on the 6th of July in 2012.
Well, I guess starting on the 5th of July, which is the evening of, because Skylar had been at work. She had a part-time job, as we talked about, at Wendy's.
Yep.
She'd been there in the afternoon and into the evening and come home, as you do, tired and what have you, walked in the door.
I think she got home at about 11 p.m.
Oh, no, a bit earlier than that.
Was it?
She came into her parents and like had spoken to them and everything, and then said, I'm going to bed, and said, love you, Dad.
Yeah.
It was his last words that he heard from her.
Yeah.
Oh, break me.
Yeah.
And she went to her room and she did tweet things and that sort of thing on that night, and in her bedroom. So as far as because her parents then went to bed, and so everyone was asleep. Everyone had gone to bed. Now, I do believe that. Well, should we go with what the story was that the police were told originally, and then what happened?
Yep.
Yeah. So she goes to bed. The next morning, her dad, the arrangement they had was that because being a teenage girl, and this was like a Friday night coming into Saturday morning then on the 6th, right? So obviously she doesn't be at school. So the arrangement was that as a teenage girl, she can sleep in, I don't care. But her dad had to go to work. So the plan was he would drive the car into work, go to work, come home for lunch, and then he would wake her up or, get her, she'd be up and whatever by then.
Wake her up at midday.
Well, yeah. So he sort of said he expected her to be awake by the time he got home for lunch. But, that it wasn't unexpected that she wouldn't be necessarily awake either. He'd have lunch and then she would drive him back to work and then have the car for the afternoon. So while he finishes off his shift. So on a Saturday, which is great. Then a teenage girl gets to drive around and do her thing for the day. Now, he got home this day, started eating his lunch, kind of going, oh, she's not awake yet, and eventually knocking on her door, come on, Skylar, like, I'm going to have to leave soon, like, you're going to have to take me, if you want the car, like, you got to come with me now. But no one coming out of the door. Eventually got to a point, now the door was locked, and he said that's not unusual for her to lock her bedroom door, that's fine. But he ended up having to go and get something to pick the lock because there was no answer at this door and what the hell's going on. Finally picked the door open and got into the room to find that her bed had not been slept in.
Or at least been remade.
Well,
which I don't think
so. She was pretty good, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was unusual to him that her bed was made.
Yes.
And I believe her mum had made the bed the day before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was like, what the? He did notice that the window was ajar and was open, and was like,
the fly screen was off.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was like, what the hell? Like, she hasn't even slept in this bed. What's going on? Was when he left the building to kind of head to his car to kind of go find out where she would be, that he noticed also on the exterior of the apartment building was a chair put up against the back of the window so that she could climb out easier. So he already was sort of clocking that potentially she's snuck out. But where is she now? he rang his wife, said, where is she? She's not here. They both kind of like, this is very unusual for her to not do the right thing and not be home. However, they also knew because she was such a great kid, the thing that she wouldn't be late for was work that afternoon. She was working, I think, at 4 p.m.
4 p.m., yep.
Was her shift at Wendy's. So they were like, let's see that she turns up to work because surely she'll get herself there. Wherever she is at the moment, she will be at work by 4. So they kind of sat a little bit shitting themselves a bit, I'll be honest. They weren't comfortable.
Well, I think the dad was more shitting himself than the mum.
I agree.
She was like, the mum was like, oh, look, teenage girls, you know what they're like. She's probably gone and slept somewhere, slept over at someone's or whatever.
Maybe she's been at Sheila's. Kind of was
that's
like,
right. And
whatever.
she's like, nah, she'll turn up for work. We'll give her a call. We'll wait until 4:10, let her clock in and whatever. We'll call Wendy's and make sure she's there.
Yeah. But it literally got to like 4:01 and that's how diligent she was at rocking up to work. That's what I think too. That Wendy's ring the parents at home, ring them and say, Skylar's not here. Do you know where she is? To which they immediately went, oh, shit.
Panic station.
This isn't okay. And they then rang the police and reported this. So, they then started calling around, obviously, to all of her friends and everything. And immediately, so they ring Sheila, which is, of course, one of the protocols, of first protocols, their closest friend ever. And Sheila admits that, we did. She snuck out last night. At about 11 p.m, we picked her up and we went driving for about 30, 40 minutes. But then we dropped her off at a few streets down from her apartment so that the lights and things of the car didn't wake anyone in the apartment. But we dropped her there. That was the last we saw her. She would have then supposedly walked back up the road and climbed back in that window, and that was the last we saw her. Right.
Okay.
So the police are kind of going, okay, maybe this is a runaway situation. Maybe, maybe something's happened between where they've dropped her off and getting back to the apartment building.
We don't know.
This is, not adding up and everything. They did check all sorts of things. They went and door knocked on all of the houses around the area where Sheila said that they had dropped her off.
Yeah, so Sheila's mum and Sheila did one side of the street.
Yeah.
And Skylar's dad and a police officer did the other side of the street, came up with nothing.
Like, no one had seen this girl. They had a photo and everything and saying, have you seen her?
So, Sheila was really putting herself in it.
Well, so much so that she was there that day with Skylar's parents and sitting on the bed in Skylar's room with Skylar's mum, both crying, saying, where is she? And she's got to come home.
Why isn't she here?
Yeah, what's happened to her? She's got to come home. Oh, my God.
The police then decide to look at CCTV. So luckily, I guess some ways.
I think the dad Dave eventually says, hey, wait, there's cameras on the house. Maybe we'll be able to see her coming up the street and returning, or might catch something of like how she's not got back to the house or,
So they were able to get quite grainy footage from the building, from their apartment building, and that told quite a different story, didn't it?
It did, but the cops are fucking stupid in this. I can't handle this at all.
I know.
In the grainy footage, they see very clearly a car pull up. Mm-hmm. Now, this car, it pulls up at 12:30.
Yep.
Now, so what they're basically looking at that at 12:30 going, okay, well, this is after Sheila and Rachel have dropped her off down the other end of the street. So, and they said they're only driving around for about half hour or so. So she would have been back here before midnight. And then she's gone out again.
She snuck out again.
At 12:30 to this car. So that's the thinking of the police.
At 11 p.m, there was no sneak out footage of her.
No. And that seemed to didn't connect
either. They never went, oh, that's weird.
Because if we
saw her getting up, but then, I don't know.
Don't know what their thing is.
To be fair, maybe they thought she went in a different direction because the CCTV does only show like from one corner of the building out.
Yeah.
One direction.
I think technically if she climbed out of her window, she wouldn't be you can't see her climb out of the window. But you
see her walking across the car park.
Car park and driveway.
But when
whereas if she had gone, I guess, the other direction and gone through the car park, possibly she could have left and not be seen.
Yeah.
But anyway. So there's this car pulling up. Now, it's grainy. It is absolutely grainy. But
You can
even
tell.
as a very much a layman, you can see it's black and white footage too, so you can see it's a light coloured car.
Yes.
And you kind of get a vague shape
you get
of the car.
shape of the car.
Now,
and they're
I'm
like,
sorry.
we've got no idea what this car is.
No idea. Bullshit.
I'm like, fuck off.
Even
like,
I can see the rough shape of that car.
That's right. And like, if you know the kind of cars in that area, you'd be able to deduce maybe an array of cars that it may be.
And the fact that Sheila had already admitted that they had picked her up at some point that night, wouldn't you go, like, what kind of car is it you drive?
It wasn't even a question.
Nah.
Although, all right, so they look at this footage. They're like, she's gone willingly with someone. Which what the police then say about that is that because she's gone willingly and they can prove she hasn't been kidnapped, there's no Amber Alert or anything like that put out about this missing child.
No.
Okay, that'll come into play. That information will come into play a little bit later on down the track. But basically, the police are like, fuck, we don't know what to do now. No. So they start to then interview everyone.
They start looking a little bit more broadly from who is she interacting with, because this is someone she willingly went with. So who could these other people be, and what other friendships does she have around this? So we know there's Sheila and Skylar and Rachel. God, sorry, the Sheila and Skylar thing.
Tell me about it. I know.
Sheila and Rachel, obviously good friends. They've spoken to them already about their story and kind of just taken that for what it is at this point.
Well,
a little bit.
The first time they were interviewed, of course, I think that's fair. I think that's fair that they took them, because they had to then go and investigate it.
Yeah.
But once they did start to investigate it, they were like, let's drill down a little bit more on this.
It took them ages to do that, though. Because
it was 2 weeks?
Longer.
Was it longer than 2 weeks?
Because what they originally then started like looking at friendship groups, right? And what they noticed was who were they hanging out with, and these other names came up that were related to a burglary, an armed burglary that had occurred. The cops were looking at 2 brothers in relation to a burglary. And it turned out that Skylar, Sheila and Rachel had been mixing with these boys.
Yeah.
They were, a little bit older than them, but not ridiculous. I think they were like maybe 18, whereas they were only 16, but not insane. But they had been hanging out with these people. So when you think someone who's, the sorts of people these were they take drugs and they would have parties, and they were, dabbling now into, burglaries.
Armed burglaries are that's a big leap.
Potentially. They were being looked at for it. There was a CCTV footage of a person who looked like one of these brothers, right? So the cops were looking at them for it. They weren't officially
charged or
anything.
But
the cops were like, they're known to us. We know this about them. So I guess the police's mindset started going, hang on a second. Could it be that she's dabbling in, partying with these people? Has something gone wrong? Let's say they all went off partying and she OD'd accidentally in this scenario, and now they're all covering up for it, which I think is potentially an avenue to look at.
Absolutely.
No question.
It's a fair theory.
Fair theory. But a theory only, like they've got no evidence of that, but it's worth
they had to try and investigate something, right?
Absolutely. So they were still thinking like then that Sheila and Rachel may have information that they're not giving us, and that this is not adding up. So it wasn't until they started putting them a little bit more in like the possibility of another scenario happening that they just might know something more about, that they then questioned them about when did they pick up
and what route
where'd they go,
take.
all those things. So they pulled in the girls individually to interview them, and they asked Sheila, they actually asked her to take them on the route that they'd driven that night. So if you've picked her up at 11 o'clock and then where did you go?
Yeah.
And she's directed them around, these places where they went.
And she admitted to the fact that they were smoking marijuana that night.
Yeah. Or they went to a particular spot, smoked some marijuana, and then dropped her back at this point.
Yeah.
They then bring Rachel in and tell her the same thing. They don't get her in the car, I don't believe. I think they just got her to show
her
on a map.
Draw a map.
Draw a map of where you went.
Yep.
And she gave different places where they went.
Completely different.
Yeah. Similar direction,
no,
but different route.
It wasn't even a similar direction.
Wasn't even that.
It was so much so that when Sheila took them on that drive, they got to some point and she turned left.
Right, yes.
And then Rachel went right.
Yeah, that's right.
Or other way around. But, you know, it was completely opposite directions. And then so the landmarks that they said they stopped at
were completely different.
Totally different directions.
And then they got back to the same point.
Yes.
But there was, very different stories.
The other thing that the police started to then really drill down on was the fact that when they first interviewed the girls, now it's also worth noting the day after this took place, so the day after Skylar went missing, Rachel actually went on church camp, or she actually went on a little trip with her mum and then to church camp. And so they interviewed Sheila straight away face to face, and they had to interview Rachel by phone because she was off at this church camp, right? Once they started to really look into this at the point where the girls' actual statements really differed, what they found was that the girls' stories were so incredibly similar.
Their original ones.
Their original ones, from the next day or the day after.
Yeah.
That it was almost impossible. It was too good to be true. There was no way it couldn't have been rehearsed, because you and I experiencing exactly the same thing, we would tell it in a different way. The main facts of the story would be the same because that's what we experience. But the way you interpret something compared to the way I do, or even just nuances in a story, things that I pick up that you don't, and vice versa,
the fact
all
that
different. We're different people.
That Sheila was the driver and Rachel wasn't would give different perspectives as to why they went where they went. You know, like the different decisions you're making at different points. It's
totally
very different perspectives. But
they're like, yes, we dropped her at this point at this time, and she was here, and we did this, and it was exactly the same. So the police are then now going, this isn't adding up.
And that was all was like sort of putting this, like, then it sort of focused then really on this theory of like it being that they know something, and that something's gone on with her that maybe they're just protecting, but not to the extent of what
I find
comes.
it interesting because the police do then have it, and the FBI were involved by this point.
They were. I
think they were. By the time the girls
because it's
gave
a kidnapping, yes, it would be. Yes.
So the girls, the police then, you know, they're presenting their theories to the family, so to Skylar's mum and dad, and they said, look, we think Rachel and Sheila know something, and Skylar's mum says, oh, there's absolutely no way. Like, if she knew something, she would have told us. She's her, but we know she's like our daughter. There's no way, you know. So, not that that didn't put the police off, to be fair.
But they even said to a point, they were like, oh, can you please leave Sheila and Rachel alone? This is not okay. This is their friend that they've lost as well. Can you please back off on them?
I was going to say, they actually had empathy for them, for the fact that they were like, oh my God, you know, they've lost their best friend. Like, they're suffering in this too.
We're all together in this on our grief of like, where is she and is she going to come home?
Yeah. So as the investigation goes on, now this is like a ridiculous amount of time.
Yeah.
But should we go through what actually happened now?
Let's. But eventually what they do is they look at that grainy footage and go, hang on a second. There's footage of the girls at a service station, and the car that they see pull up in that footage looks a little bit like the car in the grainy footage. And they finally clue together that the car that's picking up Skylar at 12:30 a.m. is Sheila's car.
That's the time they picked her up. They didn't pick her up at 11.
No.
They picked her up at 12:30.
I just can't with that.
I know. That took them months to figure out.
Wouldn't you? I'm sorry. I'm just going to divert a little bit here, but I'm sorry. As a police officer, you know that she has been in Sheila's car from at 11 p.m. That's what if you're going by what they've said. Wouldn't, I'm sorry, as a police officer, seize the car, check that car. Would you have not checked that car at that point?
Definitely. But also, like, I don't think it was months later that they looked for CCTV footage to even corroborate where they went or didn't go, as it were.
Because funnily enough, like, especially in hindsight, I mean, the amount of times you hear of other students from the high school while this is all going on saying there was rumours flying everywhere. That they were on the money as to what had gone on.
Because I think there's like a lot of context for those students in this situation with what they were posting on social media.
But surely wouldn't, I mean, I'm sorry, but okay, they've interviewed Sheila and Rachel. Why are they not interviewing the other friends from the school going, what do you know about what was going on for Scott? Did she have a boyfriend we don't know about? Was she, you know, like, you'd be interviewing those people. Those kids were probably saying, hey, we heard this and we know that. And why wasn't that all being put together by the police?
Should we talk about all of that now or after?
Yeah, maybe wait.
Okay, let's wait for that. So what the police ended up putting together, we'll talk about motive after.
Yeah.
What the police ended up putting together was that Skylar snuck out at 12:30. This was prearranged between her, Rachel and Sheila.
Yeah.
And it was under the guise of, going somewhere to smoke some marijuana and just have a bit of a friend hangout. And I think Skylar was very keen to do this, even though it wasn't her general MO and not what she really liked doing. But up until this point, that's right. Up until this point, the girls had been excluding her. And so she got a little bone and she took it, And
you can see her like almost skipping out to that car.
Yes, she was so excited. I agree. She was like light on her feet to go there. She was happy to finally be re-included in this friendship circle that obviously meant a lot to her.
Yeah.
All right. So at 12:35, between 12:35 and 1:15 a.m., they drove to Pennsylvania. So they
crossing bloody state lines.
State lines, yep. They crossed into the Wayne Township, Greene County, Pennsylvania, which was about 30 miles from Skylar's home. Yeah, from Morgantown. What Skylar doesn't know that is in the boot of that car is, I'm going to call it a kill kit. These are things that the girls in that car, the other two girls in that car, Rachel and Sheila, had been planning and accumulating for weeks. They had put in the car cleaning rags, bleach, wet wipes, shovels, a change of clothes for each of them. And large kitchen knives wrapped in towels. At 1:15 a.m., they arrived to this predetermined spot that they'd figured out that they were going to.
They'd been there before to smoke marijuana, so it wasn't. So when Skylar would have been pulling up there in the car with them, she would not have questioned it in the least. Like, as in, it's like, if we're going to go smoke marijuana, this is quite possibly somewhere we'd go to
because it's remote.
Yeah,
it's out of the way. No one would think to go there to find them or catch them doing what they shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah.
It's in a pretty heavily wooded area, but there is a clearing. It almost looks to me like a campsite, like in the middle of a bush. So, okay. The girls, they get out of the car, they start socialising, chatting and all of this. Now, in order to execute this fucking horrific plan, Sheila and Rachel decided that they would pretend that they forgot a lighter in the car. Skylar, they knew Skylar, well, especially Sheila, knew Skylar so well that they knew, we forgot a lighter in the car. Skylar would be the first one to go, I'll go and get it. I'll go and grab it for you, for us.
People pleaser.
As soon as the other two had planned that as soon as she turned her back on them, they would go on 3.
1, 2, 3.
So with Skylar's back turned, Sheila and Rachel looked at each other, counted out loud 1, 2, 3,
and jumped.
And on 3, they pulled out the kitchen knives that they had and attacked Skylar from behind,
stabbing her 50 times,
mostly in the neck and back.
Now, Skylar fought them as best she could, and in that process, she did somehow get a knife, not off of Rachel, I believe it was, but Rachel did cop a slice to the leg with the knife with the way Skylar was fighting pushing her off. Yeah. But yeah, who can survive that?
So she did manage to break away briefly. But the other two tracked her down and pinned her down and
kept going, continued
the assault.
They then had the plan of they used the shovel and they tried to dig a grave for her, but the ground was too hard and rocky, so they struggled to get really any traction on that and dig any holes. So they ended up deciding to move the body elsewhere. So they had to carry her lifeless body, and they then buried her under foliage and everything, in an area a bit off the track more. Oh my God, all of that blows my mind.
it's just the callousness of it.
This is
and
it.
Like, obviously the disrespect to kill your friend, but then the way they basically just left her body as well.
To stab someone once would be...
Couldn't even.
Can't even. I did accidentally want to stab someone.
Wait, what?
I just had the memory of
Say
this.
more.
Oh my God. I was in high school and we were in science and we had these scalpel things. And I accidentally, it was a total accident, I stabbed one of the guys that was standing next to me with that when I put it down, and he never let me leave it down. Like, it was like funny, ha at the time. But he was like, it was this ongoing joke of like, well, we'll stay clear of her. She'll probably stab you. You know? And I felt so awful, just the feeling of like, like that you've hurt someone, and it was like a real like.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, I'd completely forgotten about that. But yeah, no, I can't even imagine repetitively going back to doing that. Like,
and then, you know what always gets me is the overkill of these situations. So not only this case, but in other cases that we've covered as well, when, the person's quite clearly already dead. Why do you then keep stabbing them? Like, that is it's psychologically, that says a lot.
Yes.
Doesn't it? About where
really
that person's at, because like, it's overkill. It's obviously a very passionate thing, and I mean that in the worst possible way.
Yeah.
And, what are they... I can't even with that. Like, the thought of stabbing an already dead body, like, it's...
And then lifting it up and moving it.
But then they just covered her in, like, branches and stuff. Like...
Oh, no.
They didn't care then what really happened to her. Not that they cared what happened to her anyway, but... I don't know.
And we talk about, the psychology of things like that in those moments of like how people will, cover bodies, etc. Because, people that have murdered that just leave the body in the open of like what the respect level of like and what the emotional level of is at on a psychological level. And to me, this seems so callous, like of just to put branches over her. I understand they were planned to bury her.
Yeah.
But how quickly did they give up? I'd love to know that. I'd love to know how hard they tried to bury her, or whether that was this is too hard. Let's not. You know what I mean? Like,
I think from things that I've read about where they were trying to dig, there was no way they could dig. It was really rocky. But then
like, they haven't done the whole, like, to me, oh, God, try and think what I'd do in this scenario. Would you then go, okay, let's put her in the car and find somewhere else where we can bury her?
Because they'd premeditate. They had a plan and they executed their plan to the best of their ability, I think.
Oh, God. It's just awful.
Oh, it's horrible. So the girls then used bleach, wet wipes and the clean clothes from the trunk to scrub themselves, and there was some blood splatter on the car because basically where the first stabbing took place, Skylar was already at the car trying to get the lighter for them. Okay. So there was some blood splatter on the car. They cleaned all of that off. They know for sure that they left the area at around 4 a.m. because their mobile phone data proves that was when they left that area.
Yeah, that was another bit of the evidence that I was like, they didn't get looked at sooner, that their cell phones pinged at the apartments, at Skylar's apartment, at about 12:30 when they picked her up. And yet they still followed along with this whole idea, the cops, that they were being picked up. They picked her up at 11, and that...
I don't get that either.
No, because their cell phones, pinged at her, the apartment at the 12:30, and they also pinged at this particular... It was in the direction of where it wasn't exactly where.
It was so remote where they were, but that's how they knew they were moving back, because their phones connected to that same tower again on their way back.
Yeah.
They then basically went home, went to bed, like nothing had happened.
And the next day, as we said, Rachel got up and went away with her mum, and then off to church camp.
Fuck me.
Oh, my God. Sheila obviously was still around and followed through with, supporting Skylar's family in looking for their daughter, who they now couldn't find. Acting as though, oh my God, my poor friend.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Now, this went on for
six
to 9 months.
Yeah, something like that.
So it got to this stage where, as we were saying, like, there were rumours flying around the high school as to where Skylar was. They were, as we say, these weren't her only friends. There were other people who were friends of Skylar's who were distraught over this whole idea of, like, where is she and is she ever going to turn up to school? Because they didn't know that she was dead. They didn't know whether she'd just run off or what had gone on. They were hoping that she would just turn up and come home again, but no. Police continued this idea of like, you know, that, yeah, something's happened to her in a party scenario. And they kept trying to, that's where their heads were at this whole time. Even then they're going, Skylar and Rachel know something.
Yeah.
They're still on this idea of that they weren't murderers as such, but they'd witnessed something and, you know,
well, that she OD'd and they'd hit her body or whatever.
Yeah, they're aware that she might know more. They might know more, but not saying, you know, that they've murdered her at this point even. But they get to a point where they are very much, though, there's definitely, they know more. Mm-hmm. So they bring Sheila in for a lie detector test. So they asked her questions in that. They never asked the question like, did you murder her? Because that's not really where their heads were at as well. But they asked questions around the night that Sheila did not pass that lie detector test.
Not even close.
No, she failed the lie detector test. So the cops were like, okay, we need to bring Rachel in as well. Now, already at school, Rachel had shown some signs from what peers had sort of observed as well, that she was not herself. No. She was, up until a certain point, she was fine. But more recently to this, she had a couple of moments at school where she had a bit of tantrums or whatever at things and things, been a bit emotional, let's say. But she was called in to do this lie detector test. She had a lawyer at this point, you know, as you should. We said everyone,
for sure,
her family, of course, get a lawyer.
100%.
No issue with that at all. So her lawyer picks her up to go and take her in to get this lie detector test, and her mum is in the car as well, and they're driving there, and they stop at a set of lights, and Rachel jumps from that car and bolts. Now, so then her mum and the lawyer have to get on the phone to the district attorney and say, we're sorry, she's not coming. We have to find her. She's just run off.
Away.
Tell me you're guilty without telling me you're guilty.
Oh, fucking no.
But anyway, but it turns out from this episode, eventually, it's awful in one sense that there's a 911 call that you hear from her mum when she does.
Oh, yeah.
They do find her, and it's pretty horrific, actually, that she calls 911 because she's not in a good way. So they do put her in care for her mental health at this point because she's absolutely had an actual genuine mental breakdown.
Breakdown.
Full breakdown.
Yeah.
She is not okay.
No.
So the cops kind of have to pause where they're at. So from there, the cops are waiting to interview her until she's in a better state to be able to sit in a room.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can't interview someone if they're in... She was essentially catatonic for a while.
Yeah, it was really bad. Yeah. But eventually she says to her lawyer, I need to have a conversation with you, with the police, and let's talk. So they don't actually do a lie detector test with her. They come in and have a chat.
So the FBI agent and the lead investigator go to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the first thing that comes out of her mouth in that interview is, we stabbed her. Mm. To which the cops went,
what the fuck? What the fuck?
That is not what they expected.
Not at all.
They were expecting a story of,
we hit her body. Yeah.
The guys were there.
Yeah.
This happened. They said we're going to do this and we went along with it, you know, and we shouldn't have gone along with it. Yeah. That's the kind of scenario they were thinking they were going to get from her. They were kind of really ready to pin it on these two brothers of doing something. And even then, you know,
supplying the drugs,
not even stabbing someone, say, 50 times. Yeah, so the cops are quite taken aback, but she confesses to what's gone on. Now, at this point, the police are like, okay, that's one thing, you've confessed. And then there's Sheila, who has not confessed. She lied through a lie detector test, but that's not admissible in court. We don't really have any other evidence on Sheila to get her for this at this point other than her confession, which then just becomes a he said, she said kind of,
Definitely.
It doesn't really hold too much in a court of trying to convict her to that level.
Yep.
That can be picked apart, and all these things.
Yep.
So they need one of the first things they do is they go to the site where the murder Rachel says that her body is, but they find that it is now winter because this is January of 2013. So, I mean, it's the thing. It's 6-7 months.
7 months later.
That she finally confesses.
Yep.
That they walk up to the site and find that the whole place is frozen. It's winter. It's snow. there's no way of them getting into this site without potentially damaging the scene as well and
That's
losing
right. They were worried about
the crime
that.
scene. So they basically had to go, we have to sit back and wait for something. Like if we wait for this to settle and the snow to melt and everything, we may then have a better idea of being able to get into this scene and find things. They roped it off.
Yeah.
Roped it off entirely so that people can't get in there and disturb the scene. But let's just sit back and wait for that. And in the meantime, they decide to wire up Rachel and send her off to have a conversation with Sheila to see if they can just at least get something from Sheila in that way.
Yeah.
That is a bit of a bust.
Yeah.
There's a camera on that. There is video footage and audio of that conversation. And
Do you think Sheila knew? Look, I don't know that she was smart enough to necessarily know that, but what I think Sheila knew was that Rachel was not in a good way, and she was probably scared that Rachel was going, not knowing at this point that Rachel had confessed everything, but I think she was probably worried that Rachel was going to confess or like spill the beans.
And so very confident in that though, in that video, like in the
that's true.
She's unusual,
very weird.
The two of them, even the way they talk about it, I just find it really off-putting.
Oh, it's so off. It's so off.
But yeah, I can see her. Sheila definitely is more of the, like, we just need to stick with this, you know, like, so she says things like that, but she doesn't go as far as admitting anything or, you know, not enough for the cops to be confident enough that they go, you know, we're going to go arrest her.
We gotcha.
Yeah. They come away from that chat going, it's not enough. We have to sit back and wait. They do also then at a point seize Sheila's car and actually finally look at that. And in the boot of that car, they do find DNA of Skylar's. So obviously Skylar's been in that car.
Yep.
Like with her own, you know, admission, like, you know, that she's wanted to be in that car. But there is evidence in the boot of DNA for the fact that there might have been maybe, say, I don't know, a knife in that boot of that car that had DNA on it.
The blood spatter that they didn't quite
get rid of. Up. So it's definitely linking the car in some way and the boot particularly to this scene.
I've been in your car 100 times. I don't know that you'd find my DNA in your boot.
In my car, you would.
Oh, actually, in your car, I would. But you know what? But you know, like, your DNA wouldn't be in my boot.
No, I can't imagine I've ever been near your boot.
No. Anyway, go on. Sorry. Keep going.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
So they then eventually have to wait for this snow to go, and they do get to the scene, and they go and find her body. Which
they
after that long in the
they don't find all of her body because they didn't bury her.
No.
Of course animals have gotten to it. Her head is not there. Just absolutely horrific. Certain other bones are not there. So they don't have a whole body, but obviously they know that they do DNA testing to confirm 100%, but it is definitely the remains of
what it also
of
confirms is that Rachel's story
is true.
Is accurate. You know, where she said the body would be, it was. How it was going to be found, it was found. All those things add up and go, she's telling the truth, which does also then implicate Sheila in that if she's being truthful about where the body was and how many times the body's been stabbed.
That both of their phones were in the same place at the same time, all of that.
Sheila admitted to picking her up. It's at least, you know, kind of thing. Right. There is enough there. So that gets them to that point where they can obviously say, both these girls are in this.
Yeah.
But we've got a difference in that Rachel has, even after 7 months, unfortunately, but at least eventually admits to what she's done, whereas Sheila does not. So Rachel, she comes forward and like surrenders herself.
Yep.
And to the police, whereas they do have to go and arrest Sheila. They arrested her at like a Cracker Barrel car park and pull her in. So then, as we say, we've got two different scenarios here. Rachel she's pleading guilty from the get-go, no question, because she's confessed.
Yep.
But then we've got Sheila who decided to plead not guilty to her charges, which I think is interesting.
It's interesting. I
guess you got to shoot your shot. I don't know.
I guess you got to shoot your shot. I think if I was her lawyer, maybe I would, I don't know, go down that path too, because they didn't have irrefutable evidence. No. They just had a lot of circumstantial evidence.
True. Yeah.
And like, you know, her story could be that, oh, I didn't murder her. Rachel did all the stabbing. Like, I don't know. Because they didn't have murder weapons.
No. Yeah, where did they end up?
Don't know. We don't know.
I'm just thinking that. No, I never ever heard them mentioned.
We don't know where they ended up.
No. That's interesting.
Interesting.
So Sheila she pleads not guilty originally, but they get to a to a hearing, like pre-trial hearing kind of thing. And the trial date gets set for January 20th of 2014. So we're still looking, this is like January 23rd, 2013.
Yes.
So trial's being set for like a year's time.
Another year, yeah. So that poor family.
Absolutely, that
poor
thought.
mum and dad.
But thankfully, I guess, she does then take a plea deal.
Yeah.
And she accepts that at that hearing. And then we move to sentencing. Now, for sentencing, you can watch these trials online and stuff. I find that really fascinating.
Oh, me too. I know.
But yeah, so watch those because it is really interesting. They show them as well in that documentary series that you were pointing out.
Yeah.
What's it called? Friends Like These.
Friends Like These.
Netflix doco.
Very good doco.
Yeah, it is. It is. So you can see the difference between Rachel and Skylar at these hearings.
100%.
So, sorry, not Skylar, Sheila.
Sheila,
sorry,
fuck, yes, sorry, Sheila,
Oh,
yes,
so awful.
sorry, 100% though. You can absolutely see it.
Yeah, so Rachel's goes first, and Rachel, her sentencing, because she pleads guilty to second-degree murder because she's got this deal.
Yep.
Now, part of that deal also means that because these idiots took her over state lines,
Yes.
it then becomes a federal offence. So technically they should have been charged with a whole lot of other offences as well.
Trafficking offences and all this
moving
other
a body
shit.
in Pennsylvania, all these sorts of things.
Yep.
There's so many federal offences then that come into play, kidnapping, lots of things.
Sorry, yeah, that's
but
what I was thinking.
in her plea deal, they agree to second-degree degree murder and for all the federal charges to be dropped.
Yep.
So then it's the only charge she has is second-degree murder. She's sentenced to 30 years in prison with a 10-year non-parole period.
Minimum non-parole, yep.
So, I mean, okay. Next
Grossly
up,
inadequate, if you ask me.
Oh,
but,
same.
yeah.
Now, I should say too, in that hearing, Rachel does stand up and have an apology. I'll read it. She stood up and said, "I'm so sorry. I don't know if there's a proper way to make this apology.
There's not.
Because there are not even words to describe the guilt and remorse that I feel each day for what I've done. The person that did that was not the real me, not the person I am, not what I'm made of, not what I'm made of, and not what I believe."
It's a lot of eyes in that statement, aren't there?
Yeah. I find that, yeah. But we then get to Sheila's hearing and sentencing. Now, this is the one you should go and watch.
Oh, yeah.
She
This
smirks.
This is where I'm getting like total fucking
Psychopath.
Mackenzie Shriller. Yeah, psycho for sure.
Yeah. You've really got to watch her and directly at Skylar's dad. Mind you. And he nearly wanted to throttle her.
I've got some information about that in a sec, but go.
Please.
You go. Yep.
So yeah, we'll come to that then.
Yep.
She is sentenced then, or she is actually charged with first degree murder in the plea deal because she didn't admit to it and didn't have that come forward, whereas Rachel did.
Yep.
However, in her plea deal, they do also drop all the federal charges and also the prosecuting of moving and hiding the body and stuff.
Yeah.
So she is then in West Virginia also dropped a conspiracy and kidnapping charge. So there was a heap of charges that were dropped and she was just left with the first degree murder as well. So that is what it is. But she did get a life sentence with a 15-year non-parole. So yeah. I don't know how I feel about that.
So
she didn't offer any apology.
Nothing. She got a life sentence with mercy, which basically means that it carries mandatory heavier restrictions before parole can be granted.
Right.
So the bar for Rachel to be granted parole is far lower than that of Sheila.
Even though it's only 5 years difference.
It's only 5 years difference. So from what I understand, it's actually quite unlikely It's fairly likely that Rachel will get her parole.
Well, she's tried twice already.
Yep. But
she hasn't been given it.
No, but they reckon after the 15-year mark she will get it. So she did try after the 10.
She's actually due for another one soon.
Yeah.
So her third one is upcoming soon.
Yep.
And so, she can attempt at that one.
Yep.
But then they are both due for a parole in, I believe, May of 2028.
Yeah. So that's when they think Rachel will get out.
Right.
That's the idea, because even though she got a 10-year minimum, it's unlikely a parole board would ever let a second-degree murder charge be released before the 15 years. Okay.
Yeah.
But the fact that she apologised, she's taken responsibility, all of that will be taken into consideration. None of that applies to Sheila. She still hasn't taken responsibility or fully admitted everything.
Yeah.
Right? So what they're saying is, as well, given that she's been given this mercy rule, basically means that the bar for her is far, far higher, and it has to do with lots of different things. The way she obviously behaves while she's in prison, the different things she does, whether she completes education courses, whether she does all of the mandatory or prescribed rehabilitation and all of that sort of stuff. And
what they're saying, that they are model prisoners, the two of them.
But she hasn't done any of that stuff, though.
Oh, hasn't she?
She hasn't done any of the extra
Everything
stuff.
I read said that they were doing well in prison, like as in they were behaving.
I think they're behaving. I think behaviourally they're okay. They're in the same prison.
They are, but apparently the wording that I kept reading was they're not as close as they were pre this.
Yeah, so this is what we were sort of alluding to before. So we're talking about motives now for this, okay? So what would possess two girls to murder the third friend?
Well, they said at the time that they were arrested was because they just didn't want to be friends with her anymore.
She was a bit annoying. She was irritating them.
Even. It actually, like, what the fuck? That shits me. And why did anyone sit there in those interviews and go, okay, that's your reason. I'm sorry.
Fair.
Dig. That's not it. That's not it.
So before the murder even took place, there was a lot of tension building in this three-way relationship, right?
Yeah.
Three-way friendship. There was lots of arguing. There was actually even an incident in a science class where the three girls were arguing so much, it escalated so much that they were sent to the principal's office to try and deal with it.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was basically written off as like teenage drama, girls being girls, and they kind of moved on from that. But in that argument, I think it was Sheila said in front of lots of different people, just you wait until we get you or murder you or something, words to that effect. So this was being planned from quite a while out. Anyway, what I guess is now considered a pretty legitimate theory is that...
I still don't buy it entirely.
Okay. I think that's very fair.
Yeah.
But what they're saying is that Rachel and Sheila both had boyfriends, right?
Yeah.
But the inference is that their friendship had turned sexual, and they were...
It's not even inference. So they actually asked Skylar to videotape them performing sexual acts on each other. Or as the way Skylar worded it was, did all the things that girls can do together. Sexually.
Yeah. Yeah, she wrote that in her diary, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you ask someone to film?
I think that was another form of control over her.
That's what I reckon too.
Yeah.
I'm not buying.
Because she wasn't into it. It was like, they were basically getting Skylar to prove how much she wanted to be friends with them or something.
That's it. I think they were really it was an exhibitionism of like, this is what we do with each other and you're not part of this.
Yes.
But we're going to make you see this and make you feel bad, even like, that you're not even willing to do this sort of stuff like that we do all the time.
Yeah.
It was this mean girl attitude
mean girl.
of like, I don't know. They wanted to be cooler than they were, or something. And if you think that's being cool, and that doing what you were doing sexually and with drugs and alcohol and stuff with these other boys and all these things, if that's what you label as cool, Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Do
you know what else Sheila did, which is so fucking disturbing? So when they were arrested, they went and did a bit of a search of the houses, of the girls' houses, to see whether they could find, because I think they were actually looking for the murder weapons, right?
Right, yeah.
They found Skylar's necklace in Sheila's bedroom, and it was the necklace she'd been wearing the night she died.
So a trophy?
A trophy. Isn't that disturbing?
That's fucked up.
It's so fucked up.
That takes it to a different level.
Yep.
The fact that she took a trophy too.
It's sick. It's absolutely sick.
Yeah, that is. Oh,
It's
I don't like that at all.
horrible.
That really sits.
It
I didn't
sits
know that.
badly.
That sits really badly with me. That makes her look even more.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to point out when I was saying before about the dad. So even though the mum was so adamant that the girl's not involved, they are best friends, Dave, the dad, said that about in the 6 months that his daughter was missing, he had this gut feeling that Sheila was involved. He never verbalized it.
Yeah.
He never said it to anyone.
Because he would have been like going, stop that. Don't do that. Like,
Yep.
But your gut's telling you something.
He said that day when they were sitting on on Skylar's bed and grieving, he said, there was something about it that
Wasn't right.
wasn't right. It really didn't sit well with him.
He was clearly seeing her faking it on some level.
He did something that I find odd, though.
Okay.
I think, look, if you lose a child, honestly, I almost think nothing could be too much.
No.
But he got a metal pipe and he had it in his car and he would follow Sheila around the town in his car secretively. She didn't know he was following her.
Oh, that's
hoping that he would catch her doing something that might lead
What do you
him.
need the metal pipe for
don't
then?
know.
I mean, there's
Defense? I don't
following her
know.
around going, you know something, and then there's putting a metal pipe in your car and doing that.
I read
find
somewhere.
it-
Now I
he's a
haven't
much
heard-
bigger man than Sheila.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, Sheila's a tiny little
Tiny little-
16-year-old.
yeah.
He didn't need a metal pipe if he needed to go and go, hey, grab you and stop doing what you're doing or whatever. Or
I read somewhere, so he didn't say this. So again, take it with a grain of salt if you will. But I read that he had the pipe, fighting the agonizing urge to take matters in his own hands to force the truth out of her. So was it like a threat? Like, was he going to use it? He
Again.
never did. Look, he never followed through with it. But
his physical, he could have
prowess.
Yeah, he could have given her a fright without having a metal pipe.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Yeah.
I don't know that you need to physically
Threaten her.
threaten a 16-year-old.
No.
Look, she did the most gross thing I've ever possibly heard of from a 16-year-old girl. But at the same time, I don't like that dad thinking that that's the way to go about it either. Though.
And the fact that he didn't take his theory to the police, I guess he had no proof, but interesting. Like, he had the right gut feel. Why didn't he go through the right channels? But having said that, as I said, he never acted on it. He never did anything. He never threatened her. He never. But even the fact he was like following her around in the car, weird.
Yeah, I find that really odd. Because
Yeah.
the thing was, I mean, when you hear all like as we were saying about the high school friends, all the kids at the school, and that they all knew these things. So so what you're going to before was that they. Rachel and Sheila were basically saying that they didn't want people finding out about their lesbian relationship, and so that's why they murdered Skylar, because she knew, and Rachel more so in this of like that the two of them corroborated on this, that Rachel's family was so religious that it wouldn't have been accepted that if she was a lesbian, so they killed Skylar because she knew they were lesbians and that she might tell people. And she did kind of allude to things in her tweets around, I could tell everyone all these things. She never actually did. And, knowing this information, I think she knew it for like 12 months and didn't tell anyone. So why was it now that they think they're now saying, oh, we used that as that was why we killed her because we didn't want her telling anyone. Everyone in the high school knew. Like all the people have come out afterwards going, why would you say that's your reason? We all knew you were both having a relationship more than just friends. And none of them were judging her. So then, okay, yes, I understand that as a religious family, her parents wouldn't have accepted that, but murdering someone, they would, do you think?
Oh, I mean, come on.
What the?
Yeah, what the fuck?
I actually don't buy it. I think they were both evil pieces of shit.
Yep.
And they were both as bad as one another. I'm not talking to you about that of like who led who, but like
I think definitely the fact that they were like, oh no, we don't like you, we're just going to get rid of you.
Yeah,
I think
true. That was true. I think what they said originally, I reckon that's how evil they are.
Same.
I don't think they had an actual reason.
Rachel is using that lesbian relationship as a way to get her parole granted.
Yes.
She's like, I'm going to admit this now. So that is the motive. And she is using that, which I find fucked.
That's exactly that were my thoughts. Exactly. That I honestly think that they have just done this because they were evil shits who were like, oh, she's annoying. Let's kill her.
Yeah. Yep.
I think they were just so on a path of like wanting to feel what it felt like to kill someone. Oh. They were escalating in terms of their behaviour sexually and drug taking and whatever.
Yeah.
And then they've both. I'm interested, as I say, to know who you think led who.
I definitely think Sheila was the ringleader.
You think Sheila?
Yeah. You think Rachel?
I actually don't know. I've read so much around why people think Sheila and why people think Rachel.
Yeah.
And I'm actually at a point of like, oh fuck, I'm on the fence.
Could be either way.
Either way. There's so many good points that are made around Rachel being the new one to the group, being the one that sort of had more to lose, I guess, in terms of her family, finding out things about her, and if you take that path.
Yep.
And also around her being far more manipulative than, as in people could see that about Sheila. She wasn't very good at it. Mm-hmm. Whereas people have sort of said like, oh, nah, Rachel was really manipulative and bloody good at it.
Well, that's what I have heard that because she was a really good actress.
This is it. That was something else a lot of people pointed out. Was like, she's an incredibly good actress. So don't buy what she's selling.
Yes.
And then when I go to the fact that she stood up and gave the apology that I'm putting in inverted commas because it's a fucked up. It's a bullshit.
Fucked. Yeah, it's a bullshit apology.
Yeah. But she was able to stand up and do that. Maybe Sheila's smirks and not being able to stand up were actually her inability to do that was because she actually had some connection to this and felt a little bit of remorse. Maybe.
I don't think so.
But she wasn't able to hide it as well then as Rachel. Maybe Rachel's done a very good act on this.
Yeah, and I think the fact that Rachel had some pretty sound and good legal advice. Yeah. I think that's why she ended up where she did and why Sheila has ended up where she is because Rachel's family have more money and they've been able to give her a really good lawyer who would have advised her, look, if you know something, you need to come clean because that's your best bet for getting the lowest possible sentence, the most amount of, leniency and mercy, whereas I don't think Sheila had that.
No. But I think too, I know as much as what people sort of lean on for Sheila being the leader of this is that Sheila isn't the one that cracked, Rachel cracked, and confessed, but it's done her far better that she cracked and came forward.
Definitely.
She's ended up with a far better sentence in terms of how long she's going to be in there.
Yeah.
It's quite likely that Sheila will be in prison
forever. It's very possible.
Whereas, as you say, it's likely that Rachel's going to get out in a couple of years. She's going to be, 30?
Yeah.
31?
Yeah.
I mean, she could still live a lot of life.
She can still live a normal life.
Absolutely, from that point. So it's done her well. And was that all a little bit, thought through and calculated after the fact? That she could get a better deal if she did come forward and be the one who jobs on Sheila?
Oh, I 100%
I think it got to a point where she was like, the cop's going to work this out.
Yeah.
We've kind of and so if I say it and be the one, up front, I'll get the better deal.
I fully think that. And I think she was advised that by a lawyer because she lawyered up pretty early.
Yeah.
Which, again, we always say, yes, if you're in that situation, good move. But we're not saying that necessarily shows guilt. But I think she listened to the advice of her lawyer and I think her lawyer gave her the right advice. She was just lucky to be in the privileged position where her parents gave her that.
However, saying that about Rachel and that you sound like I'm leading down that path that she's the leader, there was a tweet that Sheila posted after she was arrested on Twitter that said, "We really did go on 3."
Yeah.
How fucked is that?
So fucked.
That's callous.
Yep.
That's gross.
Yep. She then also tweeted a little bit after that, "We really did go worst case scenario on 7/6/12."
What's 7/6/12?
That's the date.
Oh, right. Wow. Oh, God. So obviously the 3 thing was then relating to the countdown they had. So just people putting that together for them.
Yep.
But, I mean, I just find that so
And then
crazy.
Rachel tweeted, "The worst feeling is knowing you did something wrong and can't change it." Fuck, they're dumb. They're so fucking dumb.
Oh, man. Yeah.
That was before they were arrested. She tweeted that.
Well, yeah, because Sheila's tweet was done on the 30th of March, 2013.
Yeah, so she'd been arrested.
She's been arrested.
Yeah.
We really did go on 3. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
That's so gross.
That's she's a horrible girl. They're both horrible
That's
girls.
not showing any remorse. No. It's like trying to make out like, check us out.
We're so cool. We executed.
Then that's where we go, conversion of bloody Sheila. Like,
Yep.
Getting into that territory.
Oh, for sure. So I think Skylar's mum and dad wanted to do something, I don't know, something to really, I don't know, prolong the legacy of Skylar.
Well, I think they got started on that pretty early on because it did come into place pretty quickly.
Yeah, so it was, and hats off to them. They were so frustrated by the critical time that was lost because of the fact that the police wouldn't put out an Amber Alert because she willingly got into that car on the CCTV footage.
Yeah.
So they basically championed for a major legislative change to the Amber Alert system, and they called it Skylar's Law. So it was the West Virginia House Bill number 2453. And it's basically really changed the way that missing children are dealt with by the police. And it's in law, so this has to take place. So basically what it means is that law enforcement have to confirm or strongly believe, this was before the law, they had to strongly either know for sure or strongly believe that a kidnapping or an abduction had taken place before they could issue an Amber Alert.
Right.
What the change was because of Skylar's Law, under Skylar's Law, was that the abduction requirement was eliminated. That basically meant that regardless of the circumstances, if a child was missing, an Amber Alert was to be issued.
Yeah.
There was also mandatory immediate reporting. So what this means is that it has to go from, say it's reported to a local police station, it needs to go to their central control system, which basically means that the right detectives, everyone's involved and everyone knows about it right from the start.
Yep.
And it also means that the Amber Alert coordinator, which apparently they've got an Amber Alert coordinator in the state on shift at all times, must evaluate the missing person, the missing child, and must assume that either serious illness or injury or serious harm has come to that person until they can prove otherwise.
Yep.
So hats off to them for doing that. They did it so quickly because it basically went to court on the 27th of March in 2013 and was confirmed by May of 2013. It was passed
before this
so
was all
quickly.
sort of wrapped up with convictions and sentences that had come into play.
Yep.
Which,
I
mean,
amazing.
Sadly, whether that all that was in place when Skylar went missing, I don't know if that would have. Oh, it wouldn't have changed the outcome.
No,
but I don't know if it would have changed how quickly they got Rachel and Sheila either, because unfortunately, I think the policing was not great.
It wasn't in the initial stages, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think what the law does is it makes the police take things very seriously very quickly.
Yeah.
And maybe they wouldn't have waited those few weeks or months to re-interview the girls. And I don't know. Look, it's hard to say, isn't it?
They would have actually looked at that grainy footage and gone, hey, that car
Wait a minute.
is Sheila's car.
Yeah.
What car do you drive, Sheila? Oh, yeah. Oh, like a car like that one in that picture.
You mean like identical to that? Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
That bit of information just blows my mind.
I know, right?
You knew she was being picked up by a person in a car. Did they maybe give you the wrong time?
Yep.
What does your car look like, Sheila? Mm-hmm. Like that one.
Yep.
What? I'm not a police officer, but that to me seems like a real fuck up.
Yep. I think there were failings in so many aspects of the investigation of this. And then not to mention then the weather and all of that as well, because the weather did, destroy a lot of evidence as well.
Totally.
That was really, really difficult.
But imagine if they'd seen that car and connected the two and got to that scene sooner.
Imagine if her body hadn't been frozen for that entire winter and they had to wait until the ground defrosted.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, would they have had more firm evidence? I don't know. It's again,
maybe
it's all
they
speculation.
Wouldn't have gotten rid of the murder weapons yet. Who knows? Because it gave them a lot of time to do stuff between committing the murder and them being really even looked at.
But this is what gets me as well. Like, we've spoken about this in so many of our episodes where you start from the inside and you work your way out. I mean, they were very, very quickly able to eliminate the mum and dad. They know they were at work. Both of them were at work that day. But then, like, as a teenage girl, the next closest people to you are your besties.
Yep.
Are your school friends.
Yeah, as we said,
like that boy in that documentary, Friends Like These, he's never even been interviewed by the police.
No, this is what I said.
And he had so much information.
All the high school kids knew what happened.
Yeah,
they were all. There was a rumor around it going, "Oh, those two are lesbians." They all knew that stuff. They all knew like that there was friendship shit going down between the three of them. They were all going that yes, only rumor, but they were all like, "Oh, those two definitely killed her."
Yeah,
that was like what was going around the school.
Yeah.
If the kids at the high school can put two and two together, dudes, come on, mate. Come on, sure. Police officers, get your shit together and put this together.
Yep.
They just didn't think that two 16-year-old girls would be capable of this, which I appreciate to a degree.
Yeah.
I wish that we could all assume that two 16-year-old girls couldn't do this. But as a police officer investigating a missing child, you have to assume the worst of people. I think you have to be open to any possibility. I was
going to say, you certainly can't close yourself off to a possibility.
No.
You've got to remain objective. And I think you're right. I think that didn't happen.
Because just going back a little bit to those boys that they basically were like the brothers that they were basically sort of going, oh, they would have had something more. They're more likely to have done something.
Yeah.
They weren't even, they've never put charges on them for that burglary.
No.
So they couldn't prove that they even committed those burglaries. It's quite possible they did, but
allegedly,
the CCTV footage is
pretty damning.
And these cops still didn't get them for it.
Yeah.
So I mean, they sound like right pieces of shit. Don't get me wrong, but to focus solely on that was very, very one-eyed.
One-eyed. Not the way you investigate
vision.
Anything.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
Gosh.
Yep, my goodness. Yep. I think that brings us to the end.
It was a longer one than I thought.
Same. I was like, there's not that much to this, but turns out there is.
Oh, we always talk, can't we?
Can't help
all that rubbish at the start.
Yeah. Totally. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you would like to follow us on the socials, you can do so on Instagram, Facebook. We also have Buy Me a Coffee if you would like to buy us a coffee, which is buymeacoffee.com/2crimebesties. Join our Patreon if you want an extra episode a month. It's $5 a month. You get an extra episode. You get every one of our normal feed episodes completely ad-free. So that is available at patreon.com/2crimebesties. On the odd occasion, it looks like we're charging like $450 a month.
What's with that?
It's not. It's $5 a month. If you just click through to join, it goes to $5. We don't know what that's about. And Patreon can't help us. So, please click through that. Don't let that put you off. And
it's the weirdest thing ever.
It's so weird. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to all our new Patreons, to everyone who's made a comment, to everyone who's bought us coffees this week and every other week. We love you all.
Oh, we do. Make sure you hit that follow, subscribe button in the app that you're listening to us on right now, because then next week you can come back and hear our episode on Brandon Banfield. And it's a whack job one.
Oh, I'm actually looking forward to researching this one because I don't know anything about it.
Oh, I've not researched. I just know surface, and it's, oh my God, it's a doozy.
Oh, okay. Join us next week, everyone.
Stay curious, crime besties.
Bye.